Alrighty. How you doing, folks? Ron Raymond here from the Raymond Report, along with Ross Benjamin of Ross Benjamin Sports for Wednesday, Hump Day, August 19th. How you doing, Ross Benjamin?
Oh boy, I hope Hump Day's better than it was yesterday because I came to a little bit of a roadblock yesterday, Ron. You know, I beat on my chest when I win, like like you should, and I own up when I lose. 0-3 yesterday. It wasn't even close, So today's another day, my man. That's the way we operate in this business.
I woke up this morning, the sun was there, and I said, it's another day that ends with Y. We're good.
Yeah.
I had the Yankees over yesterday, and I had the Baltimore under. And in hockey, I had the Habs. The Carey Price standing on his head, like Corpusalo. Just no offense. And then I won with Chicago over. So, not a bad day yesterday. And looking at the NBA, I had the under Milwaukee game, and I had the over in the Pacers Heat Pacers game. Man, that's Bon Jovi song, "Living on a Prayer." Well, I was living on a shot last night.
I hear you.
214. It was 214. And it just needed like that. It was a fadeaway jump around, and he missed it, and then the buzzer goes. It's like that one shot.
That
you know
kills
what I mean?
You. Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah, but hey, I've had shots like that go my way.
Go in. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, impressive performance by the Heat last night. By the way,
the Heat looked good. We talked about the Lakers, that fool's gold. Remember, I mentioned them a few times.
Yeah.
And to me, again, I think what's happening for my own personal take is this bubble is really starting to get a lot of guys, and they're out of their comfort level. And, when you miss family, you don't have the same environment around you. Some people handle it differently. I know when I was in the military, I spent 6 months in alert in the North Pole, and isolation. The first few months were, you go through like a little honeymoon stage, and then you get into this little dundrum, right?
Yeah.
Like you miss, especially a city slicker, and you're isolated.
Yeah.
These guys live in a bubble right now, so they're missing, their families.
Who'd you piss off, Ron, to get sent to the North Pole?
But that was part of my trade. But I'm looking at some of the best players right now, and I think it was MLB or NBA Network, or somebody was showing the bubble effects, and the top players are focused. There's no distraction. They're eating well. They're well rested, and you're seeing the Hardens, the Lillards. Don't know if these guys are married or not, but if they're single, then got to find a new handicapping angle to find all the single superstars, because they're the ones that seem to be doing well. Where guys, hey, you know what? We're joking, but we're not, right?
No.
I wake up some days and I'm not in a great mood, or just not in the same jovial mood. But I'm sure these guys, they've been away from their families and their kids. I bet you they have their dog days, right?
Oh, yeah. You know what, Ron? I really thought the Lakers would turn the switch last night because, like I alluded to when we discussed them and the Clippers, as a matter of fact, that I felt that they were just going through the motions during the final 8 games of the regular season and waiting for the playoffs, not wanting to get hurt, not a lot to play for. But, I mentioned yesterday, Portland, terrible defensive team. I mean, they could score with the best of them, yet they held the Lakers to 97 points last night. To me, that's the most concerning part of that loss if I'm an LA Lakers fan.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And, Oklahoma, Houston, James Harden saving his best for the playoffs.
Yeah.
I have one of the angles that I use in my book, Ron Raymond's 50 Greatest Sports Betting Secrets. If people are interested, just Google it, and you can find it on our website. One of the angles is anytime you get a matchup with a very even, balanced matchup, take the best player in the game. You know what I mean? And yesterday, when you look at that Oklahoma and Houston matchup, James Harden's the best player on the floor. And sure enough, by far. And he showed it, right? Those are some of the angles that I always take. Ross, before we get to the SBI, and this next segment brought to you by Siltest Milk. We're going to wash down that truck. Folks, if you're interested in the Raymond Report Light version, so it's like, Bud Light. This is the Raymond Report Light version, which is free. all you got to do is go to atsstats.com. I'll do a screen share right here before Ross tells me. What are you seeing, Ron? Yeah. Okay. Make sure I got
the Raymond Report Light, and the one that you actually pay for is intoxicating.
Yeah, exactly. 9% alcohol in the real one. Okay. Can you see this, Ross?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so folks, if you go to atsstats.com, just the front page now, you just scroll down, and if you want to jump from game to game, just go to a pull-down menu and go find the matchup of your choice. You got NBA, NHL. Now, the MLB is free. You don't have to sign up, but for NBA and NHL, you'll have to sign up, but there's a free sign up. It's you don't charge to get the free content. But if you do want the Raymond Report members area, then there is a charge for that, and there's a membership fee. But the Raymond Report Light, Ross, is free, and people can get it each and every day right here at atsstats.com. And before we get to that, where can people find you, Ross Benjamin?
They can find me at my website, which is rbwins.com, rbwins.com, Monday through Friday, daily packages up each and every day. Also, some nice subscription plans, Ron. 7-day plan for $149, 30-day plan for $499. And the best part about my subscription plans, not my daily packages, is when that plan expires, if I'm not making you a profit, which hasn't been a problem of late, but if it is, I extend your package until you are making a profit. I'll never ask you for more money unless I earn your business once you subscribe with me.
Perfect. All right, folks, let's get on to the numbers here at hand. And Ross, like I said, we're kidding with the milk, but man, favorites again. Look at this. Like, if this was a Christmas card here, it'd be all green, right?
Yeah.
11-3 again yesterday to the favorites. Now, on the 7-day average, I've never really seen this. Favorites winning at a 77.4% clip in the last 7 days, 85 in the last 3. Ross, man, chalk. Books are, we're going to get to that point that the money line will be gone. It'll be all run lines.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long this can keep going. We keep saying that, though. I recall saying it last week and the week before, and yet it continues. I looked at, again, I've brought up the money line favorites of -106 to -150, how well they've done all year. Waiting for that to level off. It's not leveling off, Ron. If anything, they're making more money. As a matter of fact, going into yesterday's action, and I'm sure improved again after yesterday by looking at what happened yesterday, 11-3 with the favorites. Moneyline favorites of -106 to -150, Ron, hitting over 65% of the time. And if you wagered to win $100 on each one of those moneyline favorites of 106 to 150 this year, you're up over $3,300. That's at $100 a game. So could you imagine the books if they're dealing with guys that are dime players and such? They got to be taking a beating.
Oh, absolutely. And even the average gambler and sports handicappers, when you do your handicapping, like, I'll tell you what, I'll be honest, like yesterday when I did my handicapping, my rule of thumb is like, okay, I'm not touching any favorites today because I'm just scared to get burnt. Like, it's just, I said, I'm going to focus on totals because, what goes up must come down. But man, it really plays into your mindset on how to approach each day now in Major League Baseball. And how am I going to approach this? Because now the favorites, they keep winning. Do I just, it's almost like being greedy going after the favorites all the time. So the overs, sorry.
No, I agree. You get a little gun shy and say, you keep waiting for the shoe to fall, and it's not.
Yeah. And then looking at the over-unders, Ross, 64% of the overs have come in again. This is like the NBA bubble here. Everybody's, all the offense. Everybody left. I think I think everybody's defense is in the Bahamas right now, enjoying a little vacation because nobody's playing defense in almost in any sport.
Well, I mean, again, Ron, one thing I will bring up, and I've brought up several times over the last 2 weeks now, is Major League Baseball starting pitchers. They're averaging less than 5 innings per outing. So a lot has been reliant on bullpens, and there's a lot of bad bullpens out there right now, Ron.
Yeah, something to consider when you're doing your handicapping. Find the numbers of the bullpen and see if you're playing an over. Be careful with the bullpen you're going to support. Now we're going to get to the early games here, Ross. We got a few early games today, And we're going to kick it off with the Toronto Blue Jays. And now I'm kicking myself and saying, what was I ever thinking taking the under in this game? The last couple of games, 8-7 yesterday winner. Now this is a game where the Toronto had a 7-2, 7-3 lead, and then Baltimore tied it up and then went extra innings. And looking at today's starter, you got Tanner Roark going for Toronto. You got Tommy Malone for the Baltimore Orioles. Now the computer picks is another high-scoring game, 6.17, 5.22. The over/under at 11.39. It does like this game to go over the total. Blue Jays on a 2-game win streak, and looking at the value index, we had them at plus 130. So a bit undervalued here, but you know what? You get Baltimore at minus 112, losing 3 straight. I don't know if this is the time you want to play Baltimore.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Ron. You mentioned the Blue Jays have won 2 straight. They've yet to win 3 in a row since the start of the season. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, something people don't watch enough, Toronto 1-5 in day games this year. Baltimore 5-1 in day games. And the fossil, Tommy Malone, he's not pitched bad this year. 3 starts, 2.40 ERA, while Tanner Roark in bad form in his 3 starts this year with a 6.00 ERA and a 1.58 WHIP.
Philadelphia taking on the Boston Red Sox. Now the Bo Sox, man, they're really hurting. 9 straight losses yesterday, Ross. They're a big 120 dog here today. It's always big when you're an underdog if you're Boston these days, but that seems like a bargain at 120. Philly minus 140. The over-under set at 11. Now, Philly coming off a 13-6 win yesterday. Jake Arrieta getting the call here against Kyle Hart. 4 straight up wins now for the Phillies. Phillies maybe starting to get things rolling. And you know what? Maybe this is what they needed, a little bit of a breather here against the Boston Red Sox to get going after, I think they had a pretty good, decent outing last week with the Mets. Maybe they're on a roll now.
Yeah, they're starting to hit. The problem with Philadelphia is their pitching, specifically their bullpen, Ron. If you look at their bullpen ERA, it's over 9. That's horrible. The good part for this matchup for Philadelphia is Boston's bullpen just as bad. Jake Arrieta, Ron, as a road favorite of minus 125 to 175 in his career, 28-8 in his team starts in that situation. And Hart, the kid from Boston, the lefty, making his second start of the season. His first start didn't go very well, Ron. 2 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 7 hits. So he's a perfect example of somebody who's being put in a situation to take on a starting role that's just not ready for it, in my opinion.
Yeah, and if look at the Kogos at 61%. If you're new to the Rain Report, Kogo stands for chance of game going over the total. Ross, I got a nice little system league trend this year so far. Home teams coming off a home loss as an underdog. The over 48, 18-2.
Yeah. And we looked at the SBI, right, Ron? And the over was up to 48-point-something%. At one time, we were talking a couple weeks ago, that hovered around in the high 30s. So, as you could see, Ron brought it up a couple weeks ago, and it looks prophetic right now. Look for the overs to level off a little bit, and they certainly have over in recent time anyway.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is why a couple of years ago, I always said, you got to follow the markets to see, favorites, overs, unders can't come in forever. And this is where, when I tell you, it was almost like a retreat going into that bunker and trying to figure what's going on. And in cycles, I believe in cycles, and you just gotta. It's like a bike chain, when it goes into, like in the 3rd gear, you just got to find those right cycles. When is the time to go in that 3rd and 4th gear? St. Louis, crazy analogy, but hey, hopefully it works. St. Louis taking on the Chicago Cubs. Now the Cubs playing a doubleheader. I think we were talking about earlier, Ross. My rule of thumb, and I think you're the same way. We don't touch doubleheaders. Just too much miscellaneous activity going on in the day for doubleheaders, and it's really trying to catch a falling knife. But for the purpose of this show, we're going to talk about the odds and the facts. The fact is, in game number 1 at 220, that looks like a real Wrigley time. 220 at Wrigley, 181 is the price. Over under 7.5, and you got yourself a division rival today in the St. Louis Cardinals. The over under 7.5. ATS forecast likes St. Louis 4.31, 2.95. The over under set at 7.26. So right there with the market. And Jack Flaherty going for the Cards up against Alec Mills of the Cubs.
Real good pitching matchup, Ron. Jack Flaherty, very underrated pitcher. He's pitched very well against the Cubs in recent history. Alec Mills has looked very good in his first couple starts of the year. Just had that one bad 3-run inning. Other than that, he's held opponents scoreless. Wind blowing in at Wrigley today. Both bullpens. Chicago started off terribly, Ron, but their bullpen is now pitching very well. St. Louis with a solid bullpen. I have my eye on the under here in this situation. I'm going to have to dabble further.
Yeah, well, the Kogel's at 42%, so it does work in that favor. Cincinnati taking on the Kansas City Royals. Now the Reds. This game might be canceled, so check your local resources or your resources online to see what's going on with this game. This game was canceled yesterday, I believe. So
yes.
Who knows if it's a COVID factor but again, just for the purpose of the show, we'll go on with the as if it's playing. Cincinnati 145, over under at 6.5. 6.5. Let me see if that. Oh, there's no line. So okay.
Yeah, well, again, a 7-inning game. It's
yeah. Okay.
Doubleheader. Yep.
Yeah. You know? It is a doubleheader.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. There you go. So it's right. 4.31, 5.14 favoring KC. The over under at 9.45. 64% chance of winning compared to 61. Luis Castillo going up against Brad Keller of the Royals. Now the Royals' last 6 games have gone under the total. Kogel's at 61%, and we had on our value index Cincinnati at minus 137. So a bit overpriced, Ross here at minus 145.
Yeah, Brad Keller's pitched awfully well this year in his couple starts. Luis Castillo, he's capable of putting together a big effort, Ron, but he's been a little inconsistent this year. I have a slight lean toward the Royals if this game is played. Again, it's a doubleheader, so looking at it just the way on the surface, I'd have a slight lean toward Kansas City, but I probably won't play because it's a doubleheader.
Yeah.
Even if the game gets played, right?
Exactly. Chicago taking on St. Louis. That's the game 2 of the doubleheader. Now it looks like it's going to be a 5:20 start, and the starting pitchers are not listed right now. So again, just keep an eye on that if you're going to play the doubleheader of the Cubs. And just for the purpose of the show, 7.59, 5.75, the over/under at 13.34. So and that's just without the pitchers. So again, once the pitchers do get listed, we refresh this at ATS Stats. And you'll be able to see it on our free Rain Report Lite version that we talked about at the beginning of the show. And you can get the latest and greatest information on this game at our website. All right. Good matchup here last night between the Nationals and the Braves. Now, the Nats, I think they tied up the series now 1-1 with Atlanta. It could have been 2-0. They blew the lead there in the first game. And now Washington – road underdog Atlanta minus 126, a role they like to be in, right, Ross, as a home favorite?
Yeah, they lost yesterday as a home favorite, but they're still, I think, something like 13-2 as a favorite this year.
Yeah, the bookmakers have Atlanta at minus 126, over under at 10. ATS forecast, the computer pick 6.47, 3.4, the over under at 9.87. 39% chance of winning for the Braves compared to 45 for the Nationals. We're sending Eric Feedy to the mound up against Kyle Wright of the Braves in his last 4 starts. Atlanta's 1-3 in his last 4, 1-3 to the under. The last 7 games for the Nationals have gone over the total, and my rules of thumb when it comes to streaks, right?
Yeah.
I don't touch them. Looking at the Kogel here, Ross, at 33%.
Yeah, these 2 starting pitchers are struggling starting pitchers. Eric Fetty, 2 starts, a 177 whip. The Atlanta Braves current roster is 8 for 16 in their career against Fetty. That's a 500 batting average. And then you look at Kyle Wright. You mentioned 1-3. What did we say he was?
Yeah, 1-3.
1-3. And a lot has to do with his lofty ERA of 7.20, a 2.20 whip too, Ron. What that tells me, again, not to overemphasize this, but I'm going to have to do it again. 720, 220. Actually, in my opinion, that's 720. He's lucky to even be that low. With a 220 whip, he's been wiggling out of a lot of jams. And if you look, this guy has had terrible control issues this year. 16 walks and 15 innings pitched, Ron.
Oh, wow. Well, you know what? We had a great trend on the over in that one game when the team's coming off a home loss as an underdog.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think you just talked me out of the under here with that because I got a nice little home trend here on the under when a National League trend or a Major League Baseball trend for all teams this year, home teams coming off a home loss as a favorite, the under 19, 34, and 2 to the under. So, yeah.
Again, those are all good, but if they match, for example, if this was a good pitching matchup, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Or two teams that weren't hitting at the particular time, that's all fine and dandy. That's why, and again, I'm not making light of what you just said, Ron, so you understand that, but
for sure.
Making the listeners and the viewers understand that just because you got a trend like that's 34, 19, and 2 under the total, which is very good, you just can't blindly play it, because when you look at these two starting pitchers today, it's a perfect example. Neither one can get anybody out right now. The Washington Nationals have gone over in 7 straight. You don't want to go against a streak. That's, when you get conflicting information like that, you should probably pass.
Yeah. And Atlanta so far this season, this will be the third series against the team. In game 3 of a series, they're 2-0. So, it goes with our, with our SBI of minus 126. They're the little favorite. I've always liked the Braves this year. I've sometimes you look at your track record on the teams you supported and who've, go back to the well and guys who've done well for you or teams that have done well. Atlanta's been good to me.
They're especially good at home, and the favorite, like we alluded to.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Tampa Bay, watch out, man, this team.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't think they had it in them to beat the Yankees yesterday, but again, we talked about that Yankee lineup. You got to get Stanton and the Judge ready and get them healthy. You can't be bungee players, in and out of lineups. You got to be, man, you got to figure that out real quick, because for me, if I'm a Yankee fan, and I know you are, I would be just losing my mind knowing these guys are made out of porcelain.
Yeah, they've been beaten up on the weak sisters without those two in the lineup, but now you're playing a quality team in Tampa Bay. By the way, the Rays have won 4 of 5 against the Yankees this year. They got to get healthy.
Wow.
So
4 or 5.
The pitching matchup today certainly favors the Yankees with Garrett Cole. He's gone 4-0 in his last 4 versus Tampa since last year. He's, I believe, 5-0 on the year this year too as well. So, I mean, there should be no excuse for the Yankees today with Garrett Cole on the mound.
Yeah, bookmakers got him at 170, the over-under at 8.
Yeah.
Forecast has the Yankees winning 5.46, 4.91, the over-under at 10.37, 32% chance of winning for New York, 19% for Tyler Glasnow and the Tampa Bay Rays, who are on a 3-game win streak. They're 15-9 on the year, 16-7 for the Yankees, 49% chance of this game going over the total. Looking at our value edge here on the Raymond report, we had the Yankees at minus 144. That's what we think the line should be. Bookmakers are, they're riding the Cole reputation at 170, and well-deserved so. Like, he's a solid stud pitcher right now. And looking at the Yankees,
his worst outing, Ron, if I can interject, please.
Yep.
His worst outing out of his 5 was at Tampa Bay. The Yankees in that game, Cole went 4 in the 3rd innings, I believe, and gave up 3 earned runs. So just something to keep note of. Yeah.
Should be a good bounce back game for the Yankees. The only thing I'm a little worried for Tampa Bay on the road this season, coming off a road win as a favorite, 5-1 in their next game.
Yeah, they're not coming off a road favorite win. Okay. I was going to say they're not a favorite today.
Oh, yeah, no, just coming off. Cleveland taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Tribe, a minus 173 favorite. Over-under set at 9. ATS forecast, the computer pick. Going to lean with Cleveland, 4.84, 3.63. The over-under at 8.47. Aaron Savali going for the Cleveland Indians. And you got Stephen Bro, who's 0-3 in the last 3 starts for the Pirates. Pittsburgh, give them credit. They hung in there last night, but again, that Cleveland bullpen came in, and then they got those 3 runs in extra innings. I think it was 10 innings that game, and it was a 6-3 win for the Tribe. And when you look back, and maybe we'll look back in the season, sometimes you enter a game, my strength of schedule, and your mindset is a little different. I think when they waited to the 10th inning or the late in the inning, saying, "Oh man, Pittsburgh Pirates, okay, I think we overlooked these guys. That we got to start playing ball." And sure enough, they came and they won that game in the late innings.
Well, they're not good enough offensively to overlook anybody, the Indians. But, just a quick note here. Steven Brault, 3 starts this year, 7 innings pitched. That's it in those 3 starts. But he's given up no earned runs in those 3 starts. And this tells me that they plan on using him for 2 or 3 innings today, Ron, like they have been. And the Pittsburgh bullpen comes into play then. And the Pittsburgh bullpen's terrible. While Aaron Savelli, nice young pitcher, might be the 5th best on the staff, which shows you how great their starting 5 or their starting 5 in the rotation, I should say, is. But the Cleveland bullpen, like you alluded to, Ron, if you get into bullpen action, they got a decisive edge here. The game, I just can't lay that kind of price on anybody. And even with the run line, it's sort of risky with an Indians team that doesn't hit very well.
Yeah, and is Bro, like, are they, is it a load management type thing? Or
it seems, well, Ron, when you see it, it's one thing if it happens one game and then you see him go 5 and 6 innings in the next couple outings. He's gone 2, 2, and 3, meaning innings, in his first 3 starts. That leads me to believe, yes, it is load management. Now, I don't know that for a fact, but it certainly indicates that way.
Yeah. The Kogo at 40%, so 40 meaning 60% chance of this game going under. But, hey, you got a team that's based on defense against a team that's just trying to find the way to get on base here. New York Mets taking on the Miami Marlins. Now, the Mets on a 2-game win streak. They've taken 2 from the Marlins. Marlins are, facing reality now with their 9-8 record, getting close to 500. And now they got Jacob deGrom. Good luck with that against Pablo Lopez. And deGrom in the last 4 starts for the Mets, 3-1. 11-14 the Mets are on the season, trying to get back to 500. Last 2 games have gone over the total. Miami in a 4-game losing streak. Now the bookmakers have made New York a -215 price. Over-under set at 7.5. ATS forecast, the computer pick, going to go with New York here. 5.73, 3.56. The over-under at 9.29. 45% chance of winning for New York. 74 for the Marlins. Could be a clean sweep here, Ross.
Yeah, I mean, the only detriment I would see to this right now from a handicapping perspective is the Mets haven't won 3 in a row all year. Pablo Lopez, by the way, 2 home starts in his career, 1 last year, 1 in 2018, pitched extremely well against the Mets with an ERA of less than 2, but it's difficult to fade Jacob deGrom.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's going to be a tough one today at Marlins Park. Detroit taking on the Chicago White Sox. Now, Detroit, loser 7 straight. They're going into this game as a plus 140 underdog. 161 is the price on the White Sox. The computer pick all over. Look at this. Detroit, 4.65, 4.62 on paper, and the over-under at 9.27. But Dane Dunning looks like another new pitcher up against Casey Mize. 2 names I've never seen before. Getting their first start. And again, look out for Chicago, 3-game win streak right now.
Yeah, 2 teams headed in opposite directions. The White Sox finally starting to win a couple games at home. Detroit, it looks right now like they were playing over their head to start the year, coming back to reality. And 2 pitchers, as Ron alluded to, making their first Major League Baseball starts ever. When I see that, stay away.
Yeah, no, that's going to be it's yeah, I don't know how you handicap that one when you don't know what the pitchers are, right? Unless you go start digging into their.
Well, you go into their minor league stuff, but I mean that means nothing. You know as well as I do, Ron.
Yep, absolutely.
A guy could have impressive minor league stats, but it doesn't always translate to Major League Baseball, and especially so early on.
Yeah, and this is where the Rain Report focuses on value and the percentage play. And if you're forced to make a play, that's where I'd be leaning on from my fundamentals of handicapping. Milwaukee taking on the Minnesota Twins. Now the Twins are minus 147 favorite. Over under set at 8.5. ATS forecast, the computer pick, going to lean with Milwaukee here. 3.77, 3.2. Over under at 6.97. Brett Anderson going for the Brew Crew up against undecided here for the Twins. And Ross, we had a pitcher flirting with a no-hitter last night.
Yeah.
Ken Maeda going into the, seventh inning?
Pitched great. Yeah, he's pitched great thus far this year, not only last night. Yeah, and they blew a 3-0 lead in the ninth, meaning Minnesota, with that bullpen who's been lights out at home.
Yeah, last 6 games for Minnesota have gone under the total on the season, 8-16-0. And one thing I've noticed, Ross, with when I handicap totals and I look at teams, Seattle was a great example last year. You think you got them on the under, but every game seems to go over. Those type of teams, like you think, okay, this is a good time, it's going to go under, and all they do is just play overs. I get that same sense here with Minnesota and Cleveland that you think it's going to go over, but it always goes under.
Yeah, well, in Minnesota right now, Ron, at home, they've played 13 home games, 12 have gone under the total. And this is a team that hit 310 home runs last year, a Major League Baseball record. And, Milwaukee, like we've been alluding to, has really struggled offensively, inexplicably, with that lineup. So, especially their key players in Braun and Yelich, they need to start turning it around. Yelich is starting to show some signs, but I don't know. It'd be hard for me to go over the total in this game, and especially when you don't know who's going to be the starting pitcher for Minnesota.
Well, what's going to happen as soon as we start betting the under, it's going to start going over, right?
Yeah,
never fails. It
goes through your cycles, right? You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. So again, looking at this game, 43% chance of winning for Milwaukee, 17% for the Tribe, Minnesota Twins, and 61% chance of game going over. But that's because of all the unders that have been happening for the Minnesota Twins. So, yeah, this should be another good matchup, and I'll probably have to handicap that a little more. 8:10 first pitch tonight. Houston taking on the Colorado Rockies. Now, talk about a weird scheduling here. Didn't they play yesterday afternoon?
Yes, they played yesterday afternoon in Houston, if I'm not mistaken. This is one of those interleague series where they play 2 at home, and then the next 2 days they play 2 on the road. For example, Houston in this instance. So
okay, so it's not weird at all.
Well, not in 2020. There's everything's weird in 2020, so it's a norm.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Ryan Castellani going here for the Rockies up against Framber Valdez. You know what? This guy has been not too bad. I remember I've noticed him since that Dodgers series. He had a pretty good matchup in that series with the Dodgers. I can't remember if he won or lost, but you watch a game, you said, okay, keep an eye on this pitcher. I think this guy is pretty solid. And I get that feeling with Framber. Houston, a minus 142 price. Over under at 12.5. ATS forecast and computer pick. Going to lead with the Rockies here, who had a 2-1 loss yesterday against Houston. Pretty good game, actually. A really good competitive game. And it came down to bullpens, right? Houston, watch out. 6-game winning streak. Last 4 games they got under. We'll see if that's going to keep continuing at Coors Field today. Looking at the value edge here, Ross, we had Houston at minus 106. So you're overpaying here at 142. And we had Colorado at minus 144. So you're getting good value on a 13-10 team in Colorado. And it's a different animal when you go to Coors Field, right?
Yeah, that's the only thing that scares me. Valdez, to your point, Ron, has pitched great in 4 starts this year. Not real good ERA of under 3. Castellani, as a matter of fact, has pitched very well in his 2 starts as well. But you're looking at Framber Valdez making his first career start at Coors Field, and I would have to see how he does there before I would dabble into playing him or the under in the future, because we've seen a lot of hot pitchers go into Coors Field for the first time and get crushed. It's just a whole different animal. So I'm a little skeptical there.
Well, okay, and this is where I'm going to talk about the performance cycles of the Rain Report, Ross, and I'm going to ask you this question here.
Sure.
Now, perception versus reality. Here's the perception going into this game here today. You got a team like Houston that are B-type teams, so they're 50% in the standings, like 50 to 59%, but they're bullish. And if you look at their last 7 games, and the reason why they're bullish in their last 7, they are 6-1. Now the public is all say, okay, here's a really streaky team. They're 6-1 in the last 7. The public confidence is very high. And then you got a team like Colorado who are 2-5 in their last 7 games, but they're a B type team, a 50 to 59.9% team, but they're in a bear cycle right now, 2-5. Now, from a bookmaker's point of view, he's looking at the psychology of the betting public on this game. He's saying, okay, you know what? The betting public, who do you think the betting public is going to be all over here? Houston, right? Yep. Because they're on the bullish team. They're on a 6-game win streak. Colorado coming off a loss. It was a tough loss. So no, it wasn't a blowout loss. It would have been better for us if this was like a 12-2 loss yesterday. But I think from a betting perspective, wouldn't you think that there's a lot of value here today on Colorado because of that cycle?
Yeah, especially Colorado playing at home. They've lost 7 of their last 9. The only thing I would say, Ron, that I wouldn't agree with to a degree, and I like this A, B, and C type of value you put on teams. And Houston, you have right now as a B team. Are they truly a B team, though? You know what I mean? Yeah, this is a team that everybody expected, again, to win the AL West. Started out slow. Now they're coming on. So their overall record is indicative of that B rating. But are they truly a B team? Is this a team that's going to be an A team in due time? And it's, Colorado, who knows? I mean, again, I think they're another Detroit and another who's the other team? Miami, got off to a great start. The difference being is Colorado's better than both of those clubs, but they're more of a 500 team than what they started out 11-3. So, yeah, I agree with what you're saying about the perception, though. You would think a team that's won 6 in a row like Houston going into a struggling team against Colorado, especially winning the first 2 in the series, you could almost be assured you're looking at probably 60 to 65% of volume of bets going on Houston in this game. So,
hey, what does Bill Parcells always say? You are what your record says you are.
Yep.
And right now the record says Houston is 13-10, so that's what type of team they are. And again, my rule of thumb, because they're on a 6-game win streak, I just won't touch Houston here today because had they been a neutral team, but because they're bullish and they're on a streak, like I always say in my videos, a 3-game win streak, you can talk me in and out of the next game. On a 4-game win streak, I ride the bus.
Yeah, and the other thing is, Ron, this is a Houston team that it's not out of the realm of possibility. They're capable, and we've seen this over the last couple of years, going on 17 or 18-3 runs. You know what I mean? So it'd be hard for me to fade them right now, having won 6 in a row, and in my estimation, a much better than a 13-10 team. So this is a tough call for me personally, but I do agree with your perception.
Awesome. Good. Good dialogue, good talk, and this is what I love about these shows is that we break it right down to the nuts and bolts of sports handicapping. And folks, before we get to the next game, don't forget you can follow us each and every day right here on our YouTube channel. OSGA is where you can find Ross Benjamin and the OSGA guys, and the Raymond Report on ATS Stats, or anywhere you download your favorite podcast, Spotify, iTunes, Google. We're on all of them each and every day. Texas Rangers taking on the San Diego Padres. Now the Padres a minus 128 price. Over-under set at 7.5. ATS forecast, the computer pick, going to lean with the San Diego Padres. 4.38, 3.77. The over-under set at 8.15. Now, looking at this game, San Diego coming off a 6-4 win yesterday against the Texas Rangers, and 41% chance of winning. Chris Paddock getting the call here against my man, Lance Lynn. Burly Lance.
Yes.
Yeah. He looks like a guy you have a beer with there.
Talk about a pitcher that's been reinvigorated.
Yeah. And, he took life in his own matters last week. He says, get that bullpen out of here. I'm going the full 9. Yeah. He said, enough of this crap. I need a win. But here, they probably need one here today because they're on a 3-game losing streak. The last 3 games have gone over the total. San Diego, again, 2-game win streak. The last 2 have gone over. San Diego's shown flashes of brilliance this year. Now they got the Tatis, little sideshow going on. But looking at the Kogos at 33%, we had them at market fair value here, Ross, at minus 134. The bookmakers are asking you to pay 128, but I'm going to always stick with my guy, Lance Lynn here.
Yeah, good value there with Lance Lynn. Chris Paddock is, you could argue he's the ace of the San Diego staff, probably is. Coming off a shaky outing against the Dodgers, but you can give him an excuse there. The Dodgers are a very good hitting team. You know, I would look at the under in this game with this pitching matchup, but the only thing that scares me, Ron, is like you just alluded to, Lance Lynn finally had enough, went a complete game, not getting a lot of run support when he pitches this year for whatever reason. And you're going to have to depend on him to go 7 or more innings once again today, as well as Paddock, if you like the under, because both of these bullpens are terrible. And San Diego, I don't think a lot of people realize they're a very good power hitting team this year. You look at their power numbers are very good, where Texas is not.
Yeah, and you know what? My strength of schedule, as you know, A, B, and C. What I do is, and if people are new to the Rain Report, power ratings are very important when it comes to doing an analogy on a team or like just trying to figure out a team. And in my power ratings, I designate teams. And if you're an A-type team, that means you're 60% or higher. You're an alpha-type team or the elite. 50 to 59.9, you're average Joe. And below 500 is C-type teams. Now, you got a B-type teams with the San Diego Padres that are in a bear cycle up against a C-type team in the Texas Rangers, who are in a neutral cycle. So they're 3-4, 4-3 in the last 7. So Ross, anytime San Diego's at home against a C-type team this year, they're 5-2 straight up and 2-5-0 to the under. So a little check mark right there today if you do like the under in this game.
I really keep an eye on that, see what this result is.
Yep. Arizona taking on the Oakland Athletics. Now, the A's are minus 159 price. The over-under set at 8. ATS forecast, the computer pick. Going to lean with the A's here, 3.2 to 3. The over-under at 6.2. Your guy, Ross Benjamin, Merrill Kelly getting the call here today against Jesus Luzardo. Kelly, last 4 starts, the under is 4-0. Arizona, again, streaking, 6-game win streak, coming off a 10-1 win. And looking at today's game, Oakland, a 50% chance of winning compared to 23% for the Arizona Diamondbacks. 50% chance of this game going over. I love that. Anytime I see 50%, Ross, I'm like, good. We're on even, level playing field with the bookmakers when it comes from a public perception psychology point of view. A neutral against a B bullish type team. Again, it's tough to go against a team that's hot.
Arizona's won like 6 in a row, right, Ron? If
That's
I'm not
right.
mistaken. Yeah. Merrill Kelly, I really like Ron just touched upon. I've been high on this guy all year. Not a power pitcher, Ron. He's just fun to watch pitch. He changes speeds very well. He's always around the plate. Doesn't beat himself with a lot of walks. And his ERA, very good. And there's a reason why all 4 of his starts have gone under the total. Jesus Luzardo is a really highly touted prospect. Not prospect anymore, but really highly touted young pitcher, and has been for a while in the Oakland A's system. And he hasn't disappointed in his first couple starts. He's a lefty. This game, I would lean a little bit toward the under in this spot. The only thing that scares me is Arizona's bullpen isn't very good. But by the same token, Merrill Kelly has given him some pretty significant innings every time he started.
Yeah, and I think this is another one of those. Wasn't this game in Arizona yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah, so
exactly.
Another flip-flop type red-eye.
Arizona won a day game yesterday, 10-1.
Yeah.
And be real careful because now Oakland's lost 2 in a row, and that's a pretty good Oakland team as well.
Yeah, Oakland at home this year, Ross, as a home favorite, 9-3, averaging 4.25 runs for, 3.17 against, where Arizona is a road underdog, 4-6, averaging 4.2 runs, but giving up 5.3. Merrill Kelly, you said something that triggered something in my mind. You said he's not a power pitcher. Yeah. Greg Maddux wasn't a power pitcher either, right?
No, not at all. I mean, and it's again, similar type of pitchers. Merrill Kelly actually probably has a better fastball than Maddux had velocity-wise. But, back then, Ron, if you threw 90 miles an hour in the Maddux era, you were considered a power pitcher. Now they all throw 90, I mean, Maddux used to top out at like 87, 88 miles an hour.
Oh,
So similar type of pitchers where they don't rely heavily on the strikeout, and they just keep hitters off balance. Very fun to watch pitch for me.
yeah. The athlete of 2020 compared to the athlete in the 1970 and 60.
Yeah.
Just go back, watch all those old footage games, and the big windmill wind up,
Yeah.
the big leg kick.
Yep.
It's kind of funny to see with the rolling finger mustache, and
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
that's some good stuff right there. LA Dodgers taking on the Seattle Mariners now. Man, Mariners just win one, make me look good, hey?
Yeah.
That LA 2-1 win yesterday. Competitive game, another 1 or 2 run game, but now it's in Seattle. Man, it's a lot of red eyes there. Maybe I should invest in some red eye stocks here.
Yeah, no
220
doubt.
is the price. 9.5 is the over under. Now looking at today's game, 14% chance of winning for Julio Urias of the LA Dodgers, along with Taijuan Walker of the Seattle Mariners. Now going into this game, Seattle's on a 7-game losing streak, where LA on a 7-game win streak. 18-7 on the year for the Dodgers, 7-18 for the. Just amazing how all these numbers match up mirror wise, right?
Yeah.
18-7, 7-18, 7 losses, 7 wins. My God, tell me the law of adversary doesn't really exist in life, right?
Yep.
Kogo, 52% chance of this game going over the total, Ross. 3.86 for the Dodgers, 3.95 on paper, however, for the Mariners, 7.81 the over-under. 52% chance this game going over the total. I don't know. This game, it just has stinker all over it.
Yeah, this game, I looked at it earlier this morning. It's like, okay, the Dodgers are minus 220. Urias is pitching well. Taijuan Walker also pitching well for the Seattle Mariners. You can't trust the Mariners bullpen. You got one of the best bullpens, if not the best in baseball, in the LA Dodgers. If you're going to make a play on the side, I would lean toward the run line here with the Dodgers. And again, it looks too good to be true. That's 7 straight wins against 7 straight losses. I'm going to stay away here, Ron.
Yeah. You got the LA Angels, Papa Trout, going up against San Francisco Giants. Got to get that Papa Trout in there once in a while, right?
Yeah.
It's like Tickle Bunny of the horsing.
Yeah.
You just got to get that in there.
Ron's fishing buddy.
Yeah.
Papa
Yeah.
Trout.
Exactly. You know what? That'd be a great name for a horse, Papa Trout.
There you go.
Kentucky Derby, right? Make it a winner.
I get the inkling that you're thinking about buying a horse eventually. You keep bringing that up.
You know what? I would love to. Me and my wife would love to own horses, and just there's something about being at the track and just spending a day in the outdoors. I tell my buddies all the time, there's only a few things I ever want to do outdoors: horse racing, golfing, and maybe the odd yard work. That's about it.
You could tell Ron's Canadian.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's cold most of the time, you know?
Yeah. Minus 138 is the price today on the Angels. The over-under set at 9. ATS forecast, the computer pick. Gonna lean with the Angels in a blowout here. 8.5 to 3.5. The over-under at 12. Looks like a Coors Field total right there.
Yeah.
And 65% chance of winning for my guy, Johnny Cueto, against Patrick Sandoval for the LA Angels. Now, looking at the record here, 9-16 on the year for the Giants. 8-16 for the Angels. 19% chance of this game going over the total today. So likes it to go under. You got 2C Bears type team. You can't get lower than that in the Raymond system. Ross, to me, this is where you probably you handicap the pitchers.
Yeah.
Or the bullpen.
What's the total in this game again?
The total is 9.
Okay. I would take a real hard look at the total here. The Giants bullpen, not very good. The Giants 10-1 over the total against American League teams this year.
Wow.
The Angels really starting to hit right now, and the Giants bullpen struggling badly. The Angels bullpen is below average. And Johnny Cueto has pitched well, Ron, but he hasn't given him a lot of innings, which means that you're going to probably have to depend on a Giants bullpen for 4 or more innings. You have to, again, factor that into play. And these teams are coming off 2 overs, I believe a 7-6 and an 8-6 game in the 2 games that were played in Anaheim the previous 2 days. So I take a real hard look at the over. And I'd have to look at the wind conditions in San Francisco, which is another factor, playing right by the bay there. But again, that's the direction I would be eyeing right now, because I'm just not keen on laying 138 or 140 with the Angels with 3-7 road record. I just don't trust them in that regard.
Well, you know what? You're off to a right. The numbers are there. 13, 3-4 in the last 10 for both teams to the over, and the over this year at San Francisco as a home underdog, 7-1.
Yeah.
So if you do like the over, there's a lot of numbers supporting it, and like you said, maybe Johnny Cueto having that Tommy John surgery in the offseason.
Yeah, they're really. I think they're really putting a pitch count on him, Ron. You know what I mean? They're being real careful.
Yeah.
With him, especially he's getting up there in age, right? Or he is up there in age, I should say.
Yeah.
So, and again, if that happens and you take that in consideration, like I keep hammering home, you gotta handicap bullpens nowadays, or you're missing the boat.
Ross, one of my favorite segments here in this show is the 80% Club. I always feel like we need like Studio 57 music going on when we bring this segment on. Just open up the club type thing. I know it's a ESPN, the Lebertard thing, but I kind of like this 80% Club stats. Now I got some good stats here today, Ross. Hey, you know what? We're in a chalk market, so I don't see why not. If these stats will give you enough confidence to do the same thing. The Yankees 20-1 straight up when they're a home team coming off a loss versus the left-handed pitchers the last 2 years. 95.2%. Like, I know we're laying a bit of chalk here, but hey, like you say, either you play the run line or you parlay it with a total or another team. Right. The Cubs 9-1 as a 180 to 200 home favorite, coming off a 2-game win streak the last 6 years. And the last one here, Ross, the over is 9-1 for the Marlins as a 200-220 home underdog versus a National League Conference opponent the last 2 years. So some good little numbers here. And, folks, you can get the 80% Club each and every day. In fact, for today, August 19th, we have over 165 trends in the 80% Club.
Wow.
And, these are our best trends, Ross.
And that's pretty low, right? Because you said there's times you have like 1,500 trends in a day.
Easily. So today's, less is more. Believe it or not, 195 is less, right?
Yeah, I mean, it can get overwhelming when it gets up there around 1,500, right, Ron?
Yeah, for sure. So how about you, Ross?
Dissect that information.
Any goodies in the toolbox today, Ross? Or
well, let's hope I get back on track today. I've won 16 of the last 21 days, and tough day yesterday, 0-3, Ron, but I'm going to bounce back. 39-20 with my last 59 Major League Baseball or all sports with my paid selections, and 24-10 with my Major League Baseball picks. So that's what I got going today. NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, 6 games in the NHL, right, Ron?
Yeah, 5 or 6, I think. For sure. And the one up, there's a couple of games that I'm going to be watching for sure. That Montreal-Philly game, this is do or die now for the Habs. And you got, that Columbus game, I think they're just going to play it out. I think Columbus just don't have enough firepower. And Tampa Bay learned their lesson last year against Columbus. They brought a bit of grit. They got some gritty guys. Coleman, Gord is playing a little bit grittier. Boston and Carolina. Talk about 2 teams who look identical, but the only difference is Boston wants it more. Yeah. Boston has more heart.
They're playing with a heck of a lot of grit right now, Ron. And especially I mentioned to you off air, I said, Ron, is it me or is Boston the last few games in the last 10 minutes of the game just been all over Carolina? And you said, yeah, I think they're starting to wear them down, Ron, or Roy, Ross, whatever. Yeah.
George. Hey, George.
Yeah. Hey, whoever I am.
Yeah. But you know what? The sign that tells me that Carolina is done is Rod Brindamore when he called that timeout last game and he just ran the riot act. That was a plea for mercy. Guys, really, are we going to play like this? And when your coach has to ream you during a game to wake up, then you've lost that team. In my view, you've lost them. And Boston right now, they are a team that are playing as a team. They're playing for each other. And you can tell they're just they're playing to win the next game and continue on, where Carolina, to me, looks like they're just playing out the string.
And
Colorado.
They lost Pasternak, too, and it seems like since that happened, the other guys said, okay, somebody's got to step up, and everybody's stepping up. Their third and fourth liners are stepping up.
Yeah, Pasternak, Tuukka Rask went
Yeah.
home. Colorado's going to finish that off today.
Yeah.
Montreal, I think, I had Philly, so I remember I said I'm not going to ride that love wagon of everybody on Carey Price and the Habs.
Yeah, well, it's not Carey Price's fault that they're in this situation.
Oh, absolutely not.
Ron, and I mentioned to you off air, I'd be real interested to find out how teams do as an underdog coming off back-to-back shutout losses in the playoffs. I got a sneaky feeling the Habs stay alive today. I don't know why. I have to look deeper, but I just that playoff intuition from watching the playoffs for many years.
Yep.
It's not like they're getting blown out, and Carey Price, all they need to do is score a couple goals here, and they're going to have a chance with Carey Price in that. So I just have that sneaky suspicion they're going to stay alive today.
Well, I hope so. My wife's a big Habs fan. I like the Habs. I grew up watching them, but I'm an Ottawa Senator fan now. And St. Louis, I think St. Louis figured out the riddle. I think they focus on they focus on keeping Peterson at bay, Elias Peterson. And Greg Berube, good coach.
Yeah.
When you think playoffs, how can you not think of a guy like Greg Berube, Brind'Amour, those mucky grinders? And I think they figured out. Yeah, exactly. I think they figured them out. And, now they're just – and they went to Jake Allen, and now Allen's giving them
That's
the
been the trick. That's been a difference to me because basically they outshot them badly in the first two games. It was just that Binnington played terrible. Markstrom's starting to wear down. He's seen a lot of rubber now. You know what I mean? St. Louis is just dominating the play territorially. And now if you get Jake Allen, we know he's a good goaltender. He's not your average backup, Ron. No. This is a guy who could start 50, 60 games a year for most NHL clubs. And Binnington maybe has lost that playoff magic he had a year ago, and Allen takes over. So I think that's been a difference in them getting back in the series.
Yeah, he had the Steve Penny year. Remember that? Steve Penny with the Montreal Canadiens.
Exactly.
NBA, you got the Raptors, Brooklyn today. I think Raptors, it's as if they played with them. But the thing I said in my video this morning with the Raptors, they get into these modes where they get these big leads and then they squander them, like they did against San Antonio on January 12th. They had an 18-point lead, and they lost that game when DeMar DeRozan came back.
Wow, you're going back to January 12th.
Yeah,
I'm impressed, buddy.
Yeah,
I can tell you haven't drank in 30 years.
See what happens? I'm like that Simpsons character Barney, when he's sobered up. Start taking physics now, eh? Denver and Utah. Conley and Bogdanovich is out for Utah, or I don't know if they're back. I know Conley might be. I don't know about Bogdanovich. But yeah, to me, Denver's a tough out. Sixers Celtics. To me, Philadelphia's got to figure out Joel Embiid to get him back on focus.
No Ben Simmons. That's good. It didn't hurt him initially, but in a series like this against Boston, you need to be at full strength. I just think Boston's a better team. I know that they've had problems, Ron, as you touched upon as far as consistency goes. But, if you don't have – look, if you can't focus game in and game out at this time of year in the playoffs, then there's an issue with coaching. And exactly. Brad Stevens has had a pretty good – you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's done very well as Boston's head coach since coming from so, I mean –
St. John or the one
Butler.
of the
he was at Butler.
The Butler, that's it. Butler.
Yeah, he led Butler to 2 NCAA championship appearances. So he's definitely a good coach. It's one thing motivating kids in college. It's another on the NBA level. But this series will tell me a lot about how good a coach he really is.
Yeah.
Because they should have no excuse here, especially with Ben Simmons on the shelf and a Philadelphia team that has very little interest defensively.
Yeah, and then you got the Clippers, Mavericks. Dallas, they got to play defense.
Defense either. Yeah.
And then you got the Clippers. They just went ugly. The Clippers just went ugly, right? So there you have it, folks. That's the rain report for Wednesday, Hump Day, August 19th. Before we go, Ross, if people want to get in touch with you, they can get you a hold of you at rbwins.com.
rbwins.com. You can call me direct, 781-571-0299. I accept all major credit cards. There's no salespeople, just me and me only. And I don't waver from what you see on the website. So if you feel more comfortable giving me a card over the phone, that's fine, folks. And again, just a reminder, 39-20 since July 29th with all my sports picks. And also 24-10 Major League Baseball, 10-6 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And you could also get my picks at atsstats.com, right, Ron?
That's right.
Yeah, me and you up there, and you're not going to find two more solid guys than us. We, like I did today, and like Ron did a couple days ago, we own up when we lose. You know, we're not one of those, you know. So, but we haven't had to own up very often over the last few weeks.
No, what's that Lou Holtz thing? I put my pants on one leg at a time. You know, so. Yeah. Again, folks, you can get the rain report for free at atsstats.com. We got the light version up on the front page. And for Ross Benjamin, I'm Ron Raymond. This was the rain report for Wednesday, August 19th. As always, shop for value, play those percentages. We'll see you back shortly with another Raymond report.